Ringer Dish is the place for all things celebrity, from major celebrity moments like the Met Gala and the Oscars, to the weird habits of the stars you love, to refreshers on the biggest tabloid stories from the last 20 years. Ringer Dish has all the vital details. On Tuesdays, catch Jam Session with Juliet Litman and Amanda Dobbins for royal family rumors, celebrity real estate, and industry analysis. And on Fridays, listen to Tea Time with me, Kate, and Amelia for lightning-fast coverage on pressing celebrity news and gossip. Check out Ringer Dish on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code VISIBLE24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. Welcome to Bachelor Party. It's the B-side. It's Thursday. I'm Juliet Litman. I am joined by the host of the You Up podcast and the Jury Train podcast and the Luxury Lounge podcast, Jared Freid. Welcome back, Jared.
It is such a pleasure to be here. Love partying with you. Love that we have, love.
I mean, like this podcast. I was like, have we partied? I'd love to party.
I like to party, but this is the party. How did you feel about, how'd you feel about the beginning of this season? Like, I am refreshed in a...
Oh, loved it. Yeah.
Loved it.
It's great. Everything I wanted. It just like, it was a relief, honestly. First of all,
yeah.
I found Jesse Palmer really soothing. And like, I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but I was just like, oh, this is a nice presence. I like this man. He knows what he's doing.
I gave you credit for that. I mentioned that on my podcast that you said he was soothing. Totally agree. Totally. He was like doing a voiceover for the Calm app.
It was so good. It's so true. We got to get Jesse Palmer reading some bedtime stories.
Totally. And it's like, he just was a calming presence. And he was such a bro every time.
Good luck, brother.
Good luck, brother. Every time him and Clayton were together, I expected them to like start beer bonging.
It's like fucking like Step Brothers. It's like, oh, we got John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell here.
Truly. It looked like he was the older brother in the fraternity. Like, hey man, you're gonna rush here or what? It's just so.
It was kind of like, are you a fan of the film Can't Hardly Wait?
Of course.
You know when Jerry O'Connell shows up at the party and you're like,
I know
oh, this
exactly
is sad.
The scene.
It's sort of like the Peter Facinelli, Jerry O'Connell scene, but not sad. It was like, this is good. This is like, you know what? You guys probably did peak in high school, and that's cool. You're together here, and we're all gonna enjoy it. It's good stuff. I liked it.
You know what? In a time that is like strife with complexity, it was simple. The guy, Clayton simple, Jesse simple, and I don't mean that to be mean. It's just
it is
like,
mean, but it's funny.
It is mean, but but I'm saying like I know what Clayton is. I know, just
totally
tall football playing Missourian, just go to the lake and play some cornhole.
Listen, we can't escape the SEC. It's like everything we've done here in America, all roads unfortunately lead back to the SEC. It's a problem for competitiveness, but it's not a problem for The Bachelor. It's very good.
No.
This is, it's fine. We'll just got to go with it. I hope at least he didn't go to Alabama. At least if we have to have an SEC lead, it's a Missouri man. It's like bottom of the barrel of the SEC. So I'll take it. It's fine.
A walk-on the bottom of the barrel. Yeah.
By the way, him going from walk-on to scholarship is a pretty big deal. Like that, he must be like a good glue guy, honestly. It does seem like he's like well-liked.
He seems like a good guy. For him to go along with what happened at the After the Rose for Michelle is a good guy, because that was low blow. The mean tweets, they weren't even creatively mean tweets that they read to him.
Yeah,
they were
wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny on a show that professes anti-bullying every season the last 5 years. They just bullied him, and he took it like a champ, and you could tell. Liked guy. Like,
yeah.
and also to go from walk-on to scholarship to, getting on a practice squad. I mean, or whatever he did. I mean,
so you
I don't
respect,
know if
it was a practice squad. So you respect that. You're like, oh wow, practice squad.
You tried. I mean, you tried. I mean, they should have mentioned Stryker and the fact that they didn't mention that he's a medical device salesman once, like, I know that doesn't really help the Prince Charmingness of it, but like, let's say what he does. I mean, it's not a bad job.
No, it's a good job. It sounds like a steady job. Listen, stability means a lot. Like a steady job. That sounds like a dream to me here on the eve of 36. So just like great employment. I love it.
Loves the lake.
I love a lake too. So I liked it. I honestly did. I think that also Clayton does seem kind of open-minded, but I just think it does feel like a bit of a return to form, for better or for worse, but I think for better. I do feel like there's been lessons learned. I don't want to give this show too much credit, but I do think it's like slightly different than a year ago. And I don't know, man, just give me more Jesse Palmer. I just like, I'm into him. I posted a photo. Like, I assume that everyone's bored of me just like sharing my podcast from Spotify. So I've been trying to like mix it up while still being self-promotional. And so I shared Clayton's picture of him and Jesse together. And so many people were like, wait, are there two bachelors? And I was like, because they look so much alike.
Yes.
And I just kind of forget that like most people don't like follow Bachelor Nation every day. And I was like, come on, people, it's Jesse Palmer. But I just hope this is the come up for him. I want good and big things for him.
I mean, this is a crazy good job for him. Like, I'm like, there is a moment where you go, good for you, dude. You got like the gig of all gigs. Like talk about light lifting. Also, like, you could be on this show for the next 20 years of your life. Like, totally. Hypothetically.
Totally.
So like it like, good for him. I'm also excited to see how he inserts himself, because he didn't yet. The Claire moment could have been a moment where he talks to Clayton, but they didn't do that. It was really kind of contestant focused. So I am excited to see how he does. I mean, people want to judge the host right away. They can't really be judged until we've been through final rows after. I mean, that's when you make your money.
Of course. I mean, I'd say my estimation of Caitlin's gone way up. I thought she crushed it at the live after show. I thought she did a really good job. You don't agree?
Okay, I'm too blinded by how they were everywhere else.
Oh,
like the self promotion. I couldn't. What I realized, it wasn't their fault as much as what I came to realize is Caitlin and Tayshia were just distracting. Jesse's like a window. Like, Jesse could be standing there.
He's
I wouldn't
furniture.
care.
He's
furniture. Totally. Yeah. So like,
he's the Yoko Ono he's Get Back. He's the Yoko Ono. And Get Back, she's furniture. Mark Maron said that to Peter Jackson. It's true. Jesse's just there. Although funny. he's not gonna be part of the narrative of ending The Bachelor, I don't think. Anyway, did you watch Get Back?
I haven't, but I know what you're talking about, and it's very funny. It's a very funny way to describe someone.
I just want to note, previous to Thanksgiving 2021, no thoughts or feelings about the Beatles. I'm now completely obsessed. I just can't recommend it enough. It's an incredible documentary and treatise on so many things, including creativity, collaboration, friendship, celebrity, music.
So I gotta watch it.
Oh my God.
So you encouraged me, because what you said just now is the sales job that they should be doing. Is I know everyone claims to be a Beatles fan, but I'm like just like I don't know anything. Like I don't. And you can go in blind. You could, and I'd be okay.
Honestly, I feel emotional just thinking about it. Like,
good. Okay, I'm in.
I'm still recovering from the breakup with the Beatles, and specifically like the relationship between John and Paul. It's like so much to process.
Okay, well, I'm in. I'll watch in between my mom yelling at me in Boca. I'll find.
All right, that's great. Report back. In the meantime, we've gathered here today for two primary reasons. One, we need to bid farewell to she who cannot be heard, Ivana, the Bar Mitzvah dancer, who we did not get to hear from. I'm honestly devastated, but we'll save that for the end. Yeah. We got to talk about this strange case of Salley Carson. What the fuck happened with that? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know why you're still listening to this podcast. But what happened is Salley was the woman whose Chiron said previously engaged. And she allegedly, according to the show, went to see Clayton 5 hours before the first rose ceremony to explain it was supposed to be her wedding day. But she broke up with her fiance, and now she's not sure she can go on The Bachelor. And then that prompted Clayton to try to get her to stay by giving her a rose, at which point she rejected it. He looked furious and like stoic, but furious. We could see it in his eyes. I loved it. There was real fire there. And he said the first rose he gave out was rejected. And it's just questions abound. So there's a lot to parse here. Jared, what's your number one question regarding this situation? Like, what does not add up to you among the many mathematical problems here?
It's there's so much that had to go wrong to get to where we got. It's like, when does she, my first question is, when do you apply? What's the timeline? If the wedding day is supposedly limo day.
Yes.
That means between you had a fiance, the timeline. When did you apply to the show? When did your friends and family tell you this was a good idea? When did you break up? So what I heard, and I'm not a reality Steve guy. I don't look up spoilers.
Nor I.
I get them like sifted to me, and I don't want spoilers. Please don't send them to me. But
same. No spoilers, please.
No spoilers. Secondhand information that I got, and this is like from a friend, is that she found texts on the phone the day she got back from the bachelorette party. That is the story that I had heard.
She found texts about her guy cheating on her?
Cheating on her.
Allegedly, his name is Avery Buckholtz, and he's a doctor in Charlottesville, Virginia. A
spinal surgeon who apparently they're back together.
Very handsome. I just want to note. Very handsome guy. Also, allegedly, he was married when he started dating Salley. That has not been confirmed, but it seems like he was still legally married. I don't know if they're still together. I don't have a lot of details on Avery. I hope for his.
So you have deep dived.
I shallow dived. I'm going to be honest. I crowdsourced. I asked the wonderful fellow bachelor party travelers at the Ringer, Erika Cervantes, who's currently producing this episode, Devin Manzi, who does this Monday nights with me, and Callie, and Amelia Wedemeyer, who is like the face of our social coverage. And they helped because they all deep dived and I think are a little bit less scared of spoilers than I. So I really crowdsourced. So thank you to the three of them. I appreciate it.
Love it. So I guess if you get back from the bachelorette party, you find out that he's, off on other terrains.
Well,
when do you apply?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Sorry. Can you date someone that your relationship begins with someone being him or her being unfaithful? Like, can you go forward with that? And
can you go from mistress to wife?
Mistress to marriage. That's
mistress
the name
to
of the rom-com.
See, I mean, you've been on my podcast and we talk about dating, and I stand by anything. The problem with dating is someone will come in with their rule and then they go, well, my husband and I met on an iceberg when we were the only ones left on Earth, and everything has happened, so everything can happen with dating.
Yeah,
but what you're bringing up is true. Like it's not high. The odds aren't in your favor,
right? And I think it's different if you're like just dating. Like I think also if you're younger or whatever, but if you're married, it's just a tough way to start a relationship. But it works out sometimes. I then hope that Avery and Salley do work out for Avery's ex. You know, it's like, if you were going to cheat on me, make it worth it. Like, make it count.
Be for the one. The one you couldn't stay away from. Yeah, I understand that. And I don't know. I think, like, when she said, the way she described why they broke up was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
She said there was no trust in our relationship. That to me sounds like two people who were living wildly. I don't. When you get cheated on, you go, that guy fucking cheated. He's an asshole. He's the one that ruined it. He ruined a good thing. I had the wedding plan down to the flower, as she said, and she did say that, which was, I don't know, it's like the most dramatic telling of her own story ever. But she didn't do that. She goes, trust was lost. So I have to assume it was kind of a dual thing going on.
Yeah, I guess. I just want to say florals are really expensive, so.
Down to the last flower.
But they are really expensive. I assume that all sounds right. Like, there probably was some cheating. I don't know if she was living wildly as well, but I think that what people keep being really stumped on is like how she ended up on the show like a month after ending her engagement. But the answer to that is you apply for the show and you stay in the contestant pool in perpetuity until you either get married or you go on the show. And so she could have applied 3 years ago and then or whatever.
That's information I didn't know.
Yeah, like Katie's Greg, he was supposed to go on Claire's season. And there's been a bunch of people who like have just like been considered, didn't make it, and then they come back around. So they keep you warm, you know. It's not like you only got one shot, and they're constantly scouting. You know, they're all over LinkedIn these days. So I assume that Salley had applied like before Matt's season or something. Plus, I bet with COVID, I bet the casting is like all wacky.
Well, you bring up a fair point, and also, now knowing that information, it's really not fair that people are like, they've been applying for years. It's like,
yeah,
well, not really. Yeah, they applied once and someone reached out and they go, oh yeah, I'm free. That's like a totally normal way to be on a different season than the one you applied for. But someone did reach out to me again. I get reached out to with this information. I'm sure you do too.
Tips, yeah.
And someone said that the show reached out to her when they found out she was, you know, the engagement was broken off, and it's like. And when I didn't know what you just said, I'm like, well, come on. Like, what are they scouring the, friend groups to find out which relationship ends? And I don't know. How would they even pick this information up?
She must know someone in production, or she posted about it on her social and like someone's just been like tracking her. Like, if I'm a casting director, I have a burner account for tracking people that I like want to be on my show or a show at some point. That's what I would do.
That is the most hilariously insane group to follow. Like, that feed would people
definitely make you feel bad about yourself. You're like, is this humanity? I don't want to be a part of it if so.
It's like when people tidy their like Twitter their Twitter feed. They're like, I got to clean this up. I need to be more positive. It's like all you have is like people with with Bible verses in their Instagram bios that you follow. It's like, oh,
well, to each their own. I'm not going to yuck somebody's yum or insult their faith. But what I thought you were going to say with Reality Steve is I read this on Just Jared. They had like embedded a tweet. When I was like in college, Just Jared was like my go-to like for paparazzi photos. It's so wild it's still around. Anyway,
Just not Jared, my site, people.
No, not yours. Sorry. He's like definitely not like you. Totally different human. Anyway, Just Jared embedded this tweet from Reality Steve that said that Salley and Clayton's sit down was not the day of the first rose ceremony, but like 3 or 4 days beforehand. And so what I don't really understand, and I believe that because when she took like a really long time to make her phone call, and I was like, the clock is ticking. He's got somewhere to be. And like hair and makeup for your TV finale, like that takes like, I mean, your premiere, like that takes hours. Like he's got to get there early. I'm sure there was like some promo shots. Like that's a full fucking day. You think they give the next day off because the women are too tired from the all night ceremony? I'm sure it's because of the lead. Like that's a long day for the lead.
And you're going to be on for every conversation.
You got to like have moisturized hands for all the hand holding that Clayton was doing. Anyway, when the show pulls shit like this, being like 5 hours before, it like invites all these conspiracy theories. And like, I'm sure they don't actually care. But like that, and again, it sounds like I'm like talking about like the government, but that like erodes trust with the viewer, right? When they're like, this isn't how it went down. It was 4 days before. But they should have just said that it was 4 days before.
It doesn't matter.
Joe Amabile, I think Amabile, sorry, that's how you say it. I always think about him explaining it to Serena on Bachelor in Paradise. I think it's Amabile.
Ah, shucks, I'm Joe the grocer. Ah, shucks, Joe.
I don't care for him, but I'm glad they're still together. I want all the couples that I don't like to like stay together because I'm just like, good, don't be in the dating pool. Like just
and then
yourself. Yeah,
they disappear off into the, the
irrelevance.
Promo code sunset.
Yeah. Anyway, Joe Amabile pointed out that like it'd be weird that she'd have a phone, but 5 days before you probably would have a phone. I assume they take it away like the day before. I don't know why I'm assuming, but that's my guess. And so that actually checks out to me.
I would assume it's a huge moment before they get in the limo.
Yeah.
Last shot, put it in the bucket.
Yeah. Selfie. Yeah.
That's the moment you get in the limo and then it's like, and we're off. Like I'd let them have that phone to the last possible second. I'd be kissing it like it was my baby I was sending away.
It must be that profoundly strange. Can you imagine at this point going anywhere from like 3 days to 2 months without your cell phone?
Not even a little bit. Also, I mean, I can't imagine going 3 minutes. We're taping this podcast. I'm itching myself. Like, I'm like,
oh, I check my text.
I
check my text constantly. I'm on my laptop where I get my text. So
it's like, yeah, the idea, even stranger is the idea that you could marry someone that you've never seen use a phone is crazy.
Or their Instagram page. Although I guess you could check it out beforehand, or I don't know. Like, yeah, it's so weird. Also, like, what if they dial in a really strange way, and you're like, what does that say about you? I mean, it's a great point. I need to know what your phone etiquette is like. Are you on the phone at dinner? Do you put it away before you go to sleep? It's a great point, Jared. Crazy.
Where do you plug it in? Yeah.
How long is your charger cord? Do you stick with the stupid short one you get in the box, or do you go straight to Amazon and get a 10-foot cord? Like, what's your style?
That's true addiction. Yeah, I have to have it long enough so I can get it across the bed. Yeah.
Yeah. But actually, don't tell me you don't have like a 6 to 10 foot cord.
Oh, I got a cord that I can go through my whole apartment in.
Yeah. Of course. My favorite part of TJ Maxx is like the phone accessory aisle where it's like all the cords and chargers and whatever. It's great.
And I buy them in bulk because I'm like, they break all the time. Yeah. Yeah. That's a true addict.
Left it on the plane. No big deal. I got another one waiting for me at home. It's fine.
I have one in my sock.
I have one around my wrist. Anyway. So if it was 3 or 4 days before, I feel like it must have been hard to get a rose unless they had prepared one knowing this was going to happen. But like, I don't think the Bachelor production just happens to have roses hanging around all the time, although they may want you to think that. And so I just think that probably was like a very long exchange that we didn't really see. And then I bet she's on the phone for like an hour to whoever she was talking to.
I mean, that whole thing, beyond when does she apply? That interaction, that doesn't, I mean, I don't know. It bothers me that no family member was like, hey, maybe you need a moment. Hey, this is like you and I as single people, we know people, we have everyone who's ever been single has an annoying friend that goes, you should go on, apply, do it. And it's like, is she just surrounded by a bunch of idiots like that? Like, there's not one person that was like, girl, like, let's take a beat. Like, you don't need
Sally.
this. Right?
I don't know. I mean,
like a family member didn't say like, are you doing okay? Like,
how about Sally? Why don't you wait for the divorce to be inked? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of questions about her dating judgment. So,
right. Yes. she's had issues in the past. She's not known for her judgment. You're right. But the conversation, and I don't mean to go back to how mean I was to Clayton, but the reason I say he's simple is from the conversation they had. The idea that a woman is in front of you crying about her wedding that was supposed to be today or whatever day it was supposed to be. And you go, you know what? I think we're really connecting. Like, that is crazy. And like the normal response to that is no problem. I totally get it. I'm not offended at all. Good luck with everything. I hope you find what you're looking for. It's not to go, hey, excuse me for a minute, because I really feel a connection here. You know, you know what? Your tear-filled eyes really spoke to me. Like, he's taking advantage of a vulnerable person.
I felt it was like Clayton really wanted to do a good job. And now that I know it was like a few days before, it was like a dry run. And that's why he was like holding her hand so aggressively and being like, it's okay, and consoling her. Like, he was practicing. He was like, oh, this is what it's like to be the Bachelor. And the Bachelor gives out roses. And I think that he was like so excited to like be playing the part. Like, even when he opened the door, he was clearly so confused. They probably told him like someone was coming because he was like in a mic pack and like just sitting on the couch, looked presentable, very lovely lavender t-shirt. I was like not sure about Clayton until I saw him in that t-shirt, and I was like, oh, he looks good. Now I like him, which is pathetic. Also simple.
He's a hunk of a dude. He is a big old hunk. Yeah, I get it.
I don't think I would like him in person, but like as a TV avatar, he's totally good. Like, I'm into it. But anyway, I think he was just like, okay, here's my chance to start. I'm the Bachelor as of right now, and I'm gonna like do the thing, which is to give her the rose.
I understand that. And also the moment, and let me be the gentleman. But the idea that he thought gentleman was giving her a rose and not letting her go home is like, that's simple. You know, like that math doesn't add up for me. I would be running away from her.
Well, maybe he just wanted to sleep with her, man. And he was like, if I give her a rose, it's still in play.
Hey, we got a couple days till limos. Why don't we go upstairs, have a drink?
Yeah, you can't rule that out, though. I'm not even joking. He probably's like, oh, she's really pretty. I'd like to keep her around.
Well, that kind of showed itself through how he received the women. He looked like a drooling dog. Like that whole, like every woman that came out of the he's like, oh man. Like it was not like, well, nice to meet you. It was like, oh, like they'd walk away, he'd do that. Ooh, this is gonna be trouble. And it's like, dude, keep it together.
He really was into Teddy. I mean, of all of the women who he was really into about that, I mean, he's like just ready to fantasy suite it up with Teddy. And she's ready too. I like Teddy. I love Teddy's take on being a virgin. I really like that it's not like taboo. I really like that it's not like sanctimonious. I really like that's not like anything other than I made this decision when I was young, too young, and now I'm ready to have sex. I love it. Great job, Teddy.
Her take is the virginity take.
Yeah.
Like that's the one, and that's the one you would see, and she's also very young. So that's the one you would see at that age.
Yes.
Where it's like, it just never happened. It was for a different reason then than it is now. And now I'll go with God, but not really with God anymore.
Yeah. And it may not have even been God in the beginning. I did like that. I was like, this is actually a fresh take on this situation for the show. And I appreciate it. And also, I actually didn't even really think about it that much until right now, although I chuckled when she was like, probably too young. But, you know, it's like it's very different than Colton's, very different than Ashley. I don't even remember the other virgins. It's great. Well, I'm just like, love it.
Peter, he was the tall, lanky dude that was on.
No, his name was Mikey.
He was on Katie's. Yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
And now he's doing TikTok ads or something. I'm with you, but that was also why it ain't gonna work with Teddy. Like I don't think Clayton, the old dog Clayton. I don't think he's gonna it's gonna be with someone who's a virgin. I can't see it.
I don't know. He also seems like maybe he can be like, this is a great love story. I don't know.
If it goes that way, and because here's the other thing.
It won't last. Whatever her. I don't want it for her. I want her to like have experiences.
Totally. But I'm saying if it goes that way, because something else, you know, the previews for this season have all hyped up this I've been intimate with multiple women thing. But they're playing. I kept thinking, I was like, I know who the final three are, but I was like, wait a minute, I don't.
No.
They've played a pretty good shell game.
No,
they're tricking us. So if it does go that way, where I've had sex with multiple women and one of them's Teddy, like Clayton's walking out of this like a huge asshole. Like,
I don't know. She put herself in that situation. I don't know. If she's okay with it, then I think it's fine.
Okay. I don't know, but I'm saying this could be a very exciting season if that's how it goes. Like,
I mean, she might feel bad about it later. Like, oh, I can't believe this is how it went down after waiting. But I don't know. Like, I think if she's okay with it and like, then that's fine.
It totally fine. That is a very
unlikely scenario.
I just think like if that's the way it works out, like I'm happy for everyone involved. But if that is like a tight wire act that he would be trying to pull.
It's so funny. Callie and I were talking about Teddy, and we were like, "Yeah, he's really into her." And I was like, "Teddy's gonna win." Callie's like, "Teddy's gonna win." We didn't even like think about that. We were just sort of like we talked about how she was a virgin, but it's just really funny because I do think like I try to avoid oversweeping gender generalizations. However, I make them all the time on this podcast, but you do approach this very differently than me and my female co-host. So it's fascinating. I didn't even really think about that.
Totally. And listen, I don't like making it, but this show is like built for sweeping generalizations.
Yeah, it begs for that.
No, but I like to, and Teddy she just was young, but then I thought Clayton is
He's young too.
Yeah, he's kind of got a young dude's attitude as well. So I don't know. It's just all of it was fun. Good old fashioned fun.
It was like a relief. I was like, oh, this is a good time. And then Claire being such a bitch and saying she hated Clayton. That was awesome. That was really fun.
So I had a take on that. And to me, Claire rang as very self-conscious.
I think she got drunk. I think she felt that she wasn't like his top pick. And she was like, I'm out of here. If it's not me, I don't want to compete. And you want to know what? I probably would do the same thing.
So you'd explode with, I hate him. I mean, talk about yucking someone's yum. The other women were very upset with her. Just like, he stinks. No connection.
I
hate him.
Oh, I'm not into it. I'm going to self-exit. But it seems like he might be a Colton with a lot of self-exits because Colton had a lot of them. And then the woman, Samantha, who was in the bath, who then later decided she wasn't into him, eliminated herself. And we didn't see that. Well,
there's a huge difference between Samantha's exit and Claire's exit.
Sure.
I mean,
Claire burned out. She burned hot and bright like a comet.
Totally. And I thought, to me, I was looking at Claire and I was like, they actually look like a couple. I got some bad feedback on this take, but I was like, she was like, to me, she was like she's a beautiful woman, obviously, but she was taller and bigger than the normal women that go on this show.
Yes. Callie was saying that too. But the point is, she has like a figure. She's got curves. She looks like someone you'd see on the street in a good way. She's not like super tiny.
Can I just say everything you just said, I agree with, and you said it better than me. So
that's what I'm here for.
Jared,
for anyone, we write to edit. So that's
we
what
write to edit. Thank you. And for anyone that was turned off by what I said, what I meant was exactly what Juliet just said. Like that is exactly the sentiment that I was not smart enough to portray. And I do think when she's doing the wings and tailgate date and she's chomping on a wing after a little tiny Mara goes, you want to go this way? And he's like, yeah, let's get out of here. She then goes, I don't like nice guys. I like an asshole. And it's like, her self-confidence.
We all say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Every one of us have had a bad night where we have exploded in that way. But I was like, listen, as someone who's self-conscious themselves, I was like, real recognizing real. I get it.
Yeah, I understand too. Also, what's nice? A nice person. Just like doing nice things. Like that's actually, I think that Clayton does seem nice. And to be honest, it's appealing.
Well, he got very mad when the anger that you saw with Salley turning down the rose, I saw with Claire. To me, the whole thing is funny. Like I thought he looked bad actually when Claire was pulling that stuff. Like he could have been like, I heard you when he said, I heard you hate me. It was kind of funny, but it's like, Like, that should be a laughing moment. Well, it's like, you hate me, totally fine. And then he pulled this move that I don't like. He leads her out of the house and he goes, and if any of you guys else, and anyone else wants to leave, it's like, Clayton, stop it.
No one else wants to leave.
No one wants to leave. Like, what are you talking about? Like, no one, everyone's fine.
It was just really good. When he gets mad, he makes he squints his eyes a little bit and he looks like he doesn't understand. And like, he looks like the Hulk, like he's trying to like hold something in, but he really wants to explode. We saw it twice with Sally and with Claire. And
yeah,
it's so funny. I took a picture of it. I think I texted it to you. And I need to turn it into a meme if I knew how to make a meme. But like, mad Clayton is like really mad. I love it.
Well, that makes me actually trust him more as the Bachelor. You're like, oh, he feels he feels totally, and it's I Clayton, Matt. He also kind of walks like a South Park character, like he does like a side to side walk, like someone who's been in the NFL for 30 years. He does have that kind of walk.
I think he's kind of proportional. Like, I know he's a large dude, as everyone pointed out, but like, it seems like everything about him is like kind of proportional. Like his head, his shoulders, his torso, his legs. Like I think that like he doesn't come off super tall because he doesn't like have super tall proportions.
You're right. Someone that big shouldn't look that good on camera.
Yeah.
Like,
or you should notice it a little bit more.
Yeah. He looks right. Yeah. I'm with you.
Although he really did dwarf Jesse Palmer, which is funny because Jesse's not
Jesse
small.
Palmer, he's a big dude. I saw him walking on the West Side Highway once, and that was the first thing I thought. I was like, he is a wide former quarterback. Like, he's got shoulder. Quarterbacks can be slim, and they're baseball players.
Yeah.
Like, I was
or have dad bods like Eli Manning.
No, not all. Yeah. I did have a moment where I was like a fan of Jesse Palmer even before, just knowing that he's, not every t-shirt fits him. And I was excited about that.
There's a lot of love for Jesse Palmer. I think everyone's like, oh, Jesse. Okay. I really liked it. Also, one thing I meant to mention at the beginning, I thought that a smart thing that both Clayton and Jesse did was to like be a little self-deprecating about like, who am I? Why am I here?
Totally.
And it worked well. It wasn't too much, but like it acknowledged just sort of like this reset a little bit. And I enjoyed it.
It was great. And it was such a stark difference from the mean tweets thing. Like, they could have just done that.
People thought the mean tweets thing was really out of line. I thought it was fine. I mean, I didn't think it was successful, but I did think it showed that like Clayton kind of will like play the game, and he's not so self-serious. I mean, I guess it was mean, but I don't know. People are said much meaner things are said about other people from this franchise. So I was just like, it's okay.
Totally agree. I mean, I thought he handled it right. I thought he was great. I just think, it's just like this. The high horse that they got off of to do that, I don't have such a short memory. I know meaner things have been said, but you don't like stop mean with lesser mean,
Yeah. No, it's true. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see them coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code Visible24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit eBay.com for terms.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. You might say all kinds of stuff when things go wrong, but these are the words you really need to remember. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They've got options to fit your unique insurance needs, meaning you can talk to your agent to choose the coverage you need. Have coverage options to protect the things you value most. File a claim right on the State Farm mobile app and even reach a real person when you need to talk to someone. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's true, but I don't know. I thought it was fine. All right, we need to move on to the Jewish stuff portion of this episode.
Okay, this is for the mishpacha.
It's for everyone. It's for everyone who's ever attended a bar mitzvah, let alone had one themselves. So Ivana, I was so incredibly excited about Ivana from Queens, the bar mitzvah dancer. And then Ivana, her last name's Noble. Follow her on Instagram because she needs it. She's already gone. She did not even speak. She chose to not speak as part of her entrance. And then we didn't see her inside the house. And of course she's gone. She didn't speak for her intro. And I'm just like, this is maybe my biggest letdown of 2022. And yes, we're only 5 days into it, but it's a huge letdown. I hope to not be this disappointed again.
It's a huge letdown. I'm so with you. And listen, you and I were artists. So is Ivana. You sometimes make a creative choice that doesn't work.
Not the right one.
And she made a creative choice that was not the right one. And I saw it, and it's like one of those things where it's like, you can't be too cool for this thing. And she went too cool with, I'm not going to say hi, but he was like, are you going to talk to me? I don't even know your name. Like,
it wasn't even cool. Like, it just like, it wasn't even too cool. It was like nervous, or I have more faith in like my physical presence because I'm a dancer. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know how you explain it, but it was just very, very, very disappointing. I was really hoping for like some lively sitting around the pool talk about everyone's job, and she explains what she does. And she's like, yeah, I get the crowd going at the bar mitzvah Saturday night in New York City. See you there.
She should have came out with a young Jewish boy,
in
nerdy, in a suit with the tallis. They should have done the horror. They should have done the horror. How does she not take really advantage? Fun. How much fun of an entrance would it be if they had a bunch of Jews doing the horror and her leading the horror and then holding the kid in the chair?
This could be us. Yeah.
This could be us. Yes.
Or just come out with a napkin and like been like, Clayton, hold the other side. And then like that could be, this could be us in the future. I don't know. There was so much opportunity left on the table, left unsaid.
I now looking back, like there's a few things that like looking back, I have to assume the person that does the profiles is a Jew.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
100%.
Because a lot of people were like, why don't they say she's part of a party starter? I guess they call them party motivators now. Like there's a different name for them now. And it's like, and I think she mentioned, yeah, we dance at weddings and bar mitzvahs. And the person there was like, bar mitzvah dancer. Like they were like, I gotta get this in there.
What's wrong with the job bar mitzvah dancer? Does that have to be renamed? Like, what's wrong with that? It's great.
I'm with you, but I'm thinking, I don't think she sees it as a bar mitzvah dancer. I think she may have been like, yeah, I work for a company that does dancing at parties. They're like, what type of parties? And they're like, weddings. Because if you're if she was a self-titled bar mitzvah dancer, that's your entrance. That is like, you're not doing this coy, I don't say a word. How do you not? Like, I'm like so mad. And because what did she say to producers? Was she's like, they're like, what are you going to do? And she's like, I'm going to say nothing. And they're like, what?
There's no way they could have wanted that. Like literally no way. No.
Well, do you have any other ideas? She's like, well, I'm going to do like a weird walk out of the limo and then make eye contact with him and then say nothing. And they're like, well, how about some other ideas? Like, didn't they say to her, like, how about this bar mitzvah thing? We brought a kid.
We got a napkin. We got a kid. We can get some scrolls. What do you need? We're here to help.
We can get it all.
Or just come out. You know how like they for like rave parties, people like wear like a strobe light around their neck sometimes and it breaks after 5 minutes. What about that? Like, or like a disco ball or some kind of like glow stick that you hand out at these parties. Like, there was just so many opportunities to create a fun vibe or to play on our shared Jewish heritage. I mean,
Right.
I'm so disappointed.
Did you have bar mitzvah dancers?
I did. And I had like a lunch. It was a religiously focused event, but I still had dancers. And
At the lunch?
At the lunch. They were also on MTV. I was really excited. Like, they were on like the Daily Grind or whatever, the Daily Burn, whatever that show is called.
So wait a minute. Everyone's having a schmear.
Yes.
And because it's like the luncheon.
Yeah, it's like 1 p.m. on a Saturday, 2 p.m.
And all of a sudden, Jock Jam starts playing.
Yes.
And
Donna
out
Summer.
comes
Yeah, absolutely.
Last Dance.
Yeah.
Last Dance. And they're doing, in the middle of daytime, there's a window with sunlight letting in.
It was
and they're doing
penthouse on Fifth Avenue. There was a ton of sunlight. It was
so
March.
tons of sunlight. And all of a sudden, 3 people dressed in like Mortal Kombat outfits start doing step, step, clap, step, step, clap, step, step, clap. You know, that was always their opening dance, the step, step, clap.
Well, it's a good one. Everyone can do it. They were wearing like black suits and like a bright red like shirt underneath. I think it was a man and a woman and a DJ, if I recall correctly. But when we did the bios, I was explaining this phenomenon to Amelia, who was not familiar.
Well, that is the hardest part of this whole thing.
I don't think so. It is
Okay.
hard. It is hard to explain, but then to get into it, so fun. What we were talking about with the games that they also facilitate. The dancers also facilitated the games. And I was like, have you ever heard of Coke and Pepsi? And she was like, no, what is that? Did you play Coke and Pepsi on your bar mitzvah circuit? Okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
And I was like, what about Snowball? And she was like, that sounds a little bit more familiar. And I was like, yeah, that's like when they played Have You Ever by Brandy and Angel of Mine by Monica. Like, those are like the 2 most important songs for my teenage years, other than I Want It That Way.
Angel of Mine.
Angel of Mine still hits hard. So does Have You Ever. Those are 2 really great songs.
Juliet, you and I are the same age. Whoever is our age is having the time of their lives right now.
They're dying.
They're dying.
Yeah. Play Angel of Mine as soon as this is over. I don't think it's on Spotify. You'll have to go to YouTube. That's fine.
Wow.
Check it out.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
So
or maybe it's Have You Ever that's not on. One of them's not on it because I've checked.
You explain this to her, and what's the response? Because when I saw Bar Mitzvah Dancer, I was like, I know that I've been in the position where someone goes, well, what's that? And I go, okay, well, like when a boy becomes a man in the Jewish religion,
I mean,
3 to 5, depending on your economic status in the world, 3 to 5 young, hot 20-year-olds come and get the party started.
Get the party started, get everyone dancing. I mean, yeah, it's just like they turn up the volume on the party, and it's great. It's like every party should have hype people. So
it is great. It is just so. It is great. Don't get me wrong. I am like very. I have fond memories of it, but it is. I just think of every time I've ever told someone about bar mitzvah dancers, and every time I've told someone about like these like kind of like exterior traditions, you get people that their faces go from like questioning to like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like they like, if this happens with summer camp, sometimes it happens with bar mitzvah dancers, it happens with teen tours. Teen tours
is really hard to explain.
Tough to explain. Camp
is not hard to explain. I don't.
There's levels to this. You're
sure.
right.
I would say my camp has a few things that are hard to explain, but that I also just take for granted that like it's actually never really occurred to me that like a bar mitzvah until a bar mitzvah dancer was like a foreign concept and like hard to explain. I'm like, oh, everyone doesn't grow up going to parties that have hype people that you pay, that you're just like you encounter for a few hours and that's it. Because it's like, such a great idea.
It's such a great idea, but there's someone listening that heard step, step, clap and knows exactly what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then there's other people listening that hear step, step, clap and have no fucking clue what I'm talking about.
I mean, yeah. Also, I talk about camp all the time, but so my camp, we had square dance every Saturday night. And then I think it moved nights at one point, but no, it was always Saturdays. Anyway, it wasn't really square dances. It was like line dances, like to a lot. There was like some typical line dances, some Israeli dances, some square dances. But so like organized dancing was like absolutely foundational to my childhood. And at my camp friends at their weddings, we still always do like at least one square dance. Like, and everyone's
Let me guess.
What's wrong with you people?
One of the songs, Electric Slide?
No, absolutely not.
No.
That's like way too mainstream.
Electric Slide was huge at my camp.
Well, that's because your camp was lame. But this was like this is like so foundational and like it's everyone's favorite thing. And if you don't like the dancing, you go behind the like dance hall and you go in the woods and you like find a boy to make out with. Like I was always dancing, but that's what I heard. And anyway, it's like such a huge part of the experience. Like it didn't even occur to me that like organized dancing with dancers is like so foreign until I tried to start explaining this like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh, okay, this is weird. Like the bar mitzvah dancer is foundational to me, but not to everyone.
You see it on their faces and you can see the more you explain it, the more questions they have.
I'm going to have to DM Ivana to ask her about this, I think. And then,
I want to know. I want to know if this was created by the producers or her because I have to know because
me too.
Again, it feels like a huge opportunity missed to not come out with a curly haired young Jewish actor.
Palasan. Yeah. Did you ever see have you ever seen Keeping the Faith?
Yes.
Sorry. Well, the kid in that. I love that I suck. I love that I suck. That kid who's like
I think I went to high school with that kid.
You did? Are you joking?
I'm not joking at all. I hold on.
Keeping the Faith is such an underrated Upper West Side movie. I've seen it so many times.
It is very Upper West Side.
It's the directorial debut by Edward Norton, co-starring Ben Stiller and Jenna Elfman. It's a great New York movie. My synagogue is where Ben Stiller is allegedly the rabbi. It's just a great, great movie. I recommend it. Very 90s. The outfits in it. It's great.
I know I went to high school with a kid that was in it.
That's huge.
Here he is.
What's his name?
He played Jonathan Silver.
Was that the name of the kid or the
No,
the
Alan Klein in the movie.
Right, Alan Klein. Yes. I love that I suck. Anyway.
Yeah.
Great movie. Ivana, I'll be DMing you. Jared, I'm pretty upset you haven't invited me on Luxury Lounge. You think I don't have luxury complaints?
Oh my God. Let's tape tomorrow. You in?
What do you think my complaints are going to be? I mean, I have so many. I need to like stockpile them.
Well, I want your complaint, but I want you to complain with the listeners because everybody writes in, but you'll be great. You got to come on.
All right. I can do it in the morning tomorrow, early.
Early? How early? Oh, we'll figure this off.
If anyone wants to be a part of our planning, let us know. Erika Cervantes, thank you for producing this episode. Jared, thank you so much for participating. Ivana,
always a pleasure.
DM forthcoming. I'll be back on Monday night with Callie as per usual. Have a great weekend and embrace the bar mitzvah dancers in your life. It's a great phenomenon. Get a hype person for your next simcha. You won't go wrong.
Step, clap.